It's time to resolve the challenge of self-love. This month's theme for Feeding Body, Soul, and Spirit is resolution. Have you resolved the challenges of protection, self-love, and belonging this year so that you're not carrying those challenges with you into the new year? I'm Tonyah D, and I'm a registered dietitian. And since we live in a body, we have a soul, and are a spirit, I feel like it's important to feed all three parts. And here are my recommendations for feeding body, soul, and spirit this month. So, for the body, the theme is self-love. Now, we hear this all the time, how important it is to have self-love. And I think one thing we can all do that kind of helps is to imagine that we do have an inner child inside of our body. And this inner child may have some pains. It may have some things to say to us. And it's important that we listen to our body. We listen to the signals coming from within our body. And we treat our body with gentleness and kindness, and resolve any challenges that you have to having self-love in your life. Resolve to not cause your body pain. In the soul, our soul desires freedom. Our souls are here to experience life in the fullest. So, in order for us to have personal freedom, it's really important that when we feel trapped or constricted or limited in any way, we know that there's always a way out, and our soul will be looking for that way out. Or our soul sometimes can go a little bit deeper and connect to our inner light, where we're going to find wisdom. And in that space, we can find more direction into freedom, or we can also find more meaning in the situation that we're in if we have to be restricted or confined. So remember, let the soul express and let it connect to that inner light, which will direct you into areas of freedom. Our soul includes our mind, our emotions, and our free will. So in our mind is made to, one of the things, to solve problems. And if we're going in the wrong direction, if we're going away from self-love and freedom, your mind's going to be very, very active trying to get your attention, trying to solve this problem. And we hopefully have learned this year that we really don't want to fall into illusions and traps and false promises. And we want to keep our mind open and peaceful. So if your mind's overactive and it's trying to solve a lot of problems, and you have, let's say, anxiety, and when your mind is doing that, can be a signal to you that you're going away from freedom, self-love, protection, belonging, all the things that your soul needs, and your mind's trying to solve that problem. So in our emotions we have from the time we are born. We can have stored emotions, which are called unresolved emotions. And there's a lot of talk about this lately. There's a lot of talk about trauma and how if we go through a traumatic event, some emotions might get stored in our body. So one way out of the turmoil that unresolved emotions cause and into a state of freedom and self-love is there's a lot of different therapeutic approaches now on how to resolve unresolved emotions. And why not try one of the new therapies out there? And it's really worth your time to resolve unresolved emotions. So seek the resolution of your unresolved emotions so that you'll have freedom. And it is self-love when you're turning towards yourself and releasing those unresolved feelings. You'll feel so much lighter. In our will really doesn't like it when we settle. When we move, our will is like, I will, it wants to say, I will remain true to myself. I'm not going to change or settle for lesser values than I see the higher purpose for my soul. So the will, our free will, fights for us on a lot of levels to keep us authentic. So one of the things I'm really recommending is, do go ahead and fight for, I will not settle, I will not change my values just to belong to a group, just to get love from someone else. So this is a form of self-love, and it's also a form of freedom. And what you'll find is when you don't settle, you'll find other people that have the same values. So you'll naturally be creating a direction into people where you will feel like you belong because you have the same values. Now, in our spirit, it's a good idea to look for kindred spirits, people who kind of have the same level of self-love that you do, or the same need for freedom, or the same values that you have. Kindred spirits, really, that's where we might resolve this challenge of belonging, is we look for people who are like ourselves, and we're going to feel valued from those people, and we're going to naturally feel like we belong in that tribe. And this really fortifies our spirit to have people reflecting back to us that we are of value. But sometimes if you're with somebody and they're just completely different from you, you might not get that feeling of belonging. So looking for kindred spirits can resolve the challenge of protecting yourself and self-love, and finding a group to where you really feel like you belong. So if you can resolve, I'm hoping that this year you've learned to resolve your challenges of, how do I protect myself? How do I love myself? And where do I belong? These challenges, when we can overcome these challenges, then we're giving ourselves this gift of growth. And the gift of growth that I'm praying for all of you this year is that you do know how to protect who you are, your true self. You know how to do self-love, and you do know how to find those places where you really feel valued and you belong. So I really hope that you have a really good new year in 2023 as we say goodbye to 2022 and we look at the places where we have grown and we let go of the challenges that we had this year, and we resolve those challenges and we look forward to new, greater opportunities in 2023. God bless you all. Go with grace and in grace. I'm Tonyah D. Thanks so much for being part of this community.